To go. Yeah, we're good to go. What's up, everybody? And let's can somebody just tell everybody to reload? I'm about to reload right now.
I'll tell them.
All right, cool.
Who built? Dude, this is crazy little TV. It's a Sugar Club built that?
No, I built this TV. It was a model.
Oh, okay.
I got the model. The model had a bubble screen out this way, and I erased it. And when I erased it, it had a concave screen. And I was like, hell yeah! And then I just like if you look at the screen in Genesis, it's the same idea. It has like this, and then you can fit the screen right in there. So if you go in in the coding, you bring the screen up, and then what I used was Carl's positioning thing to position it in there and shit. Because there's literally, if you was in the code trying to do that, there's little pieces like when you get it into like tight spaces like that, then it'll just go like boop, and it'll go this way. So it's way easier to just use the builder HUD thing.
Do you guys know if the code for Genesis and all the models is in the GitHub, or is that, did they?
It's not yet, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know.
Because I thought it would be cool to crib some of that code, so especially the stuff that updates based on the market and links to the market. That would be really really good starting
Not yet,
point.
but oh, I have echo. I'm not sure from where.
Stuff that updates based
Is
on
somebody in the like on the LAN? If you're on the LAN, you gotta mute your browser.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's me or not. I'm just gonna step away just in
It was
case.
growing.
I've got to mute.
Loading, man.
Okay.
And also with the video, it's location sound, so you're not like gonna be able to just run away from it, you know.
Oh,
Either
really?
way, we're all here now. I don't know if everybody out here is ready, if they've reloaded, but we should be live. So yeah, I see us on the screen. I'm good money. So what's up, guys? Welcome to the roundtable.
Hey.
HP.
This has been a crazy week.
What?
It feels like I was talking to Iman. Iman Corv came over yesterday, and we were just talking about how like every week feels like a month long.
Easy.
Yeah.
It's so weird that's like that now. Like it feels like it's been like 2 years since the launch. That's what it feels like.
Easy.
Maybe. Yeah. It's been at least a year. 2 might be stretching it a little bit, Willis, but it's definitely like. But I think that's a good thing. Whenever time slows down like that, that means you're doing something like I think that you actually enjoy. That's not like super mundane and repetitive, right? That's whenever time passes you by, like, oh shit, 10 years just went by because I've been doing the same goddamn boring thing,
right?
Nonstop.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's a good sign. Whenever time slows down like this, we're onto something cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I think of it.
Yeah,
I don't know about y'all's experience.
I mean, it again, time going like this is good situation. I know for me, because it means a lot's getting done in a short amount of time. You know?
True. Very true.
I'm about to get
so
on
we
top
had
of
the
this
conference
TV.
today. We had the conference this morning. What else happened today? So you had a conversation with Sugar Club.
Yeah.
And who was the what was the other guy's name?
So his name is Misha Libman. He's from a art group called Snark.art. And that was a super cool conversation. I think that we forget the artists have this value that people don't understand. That they are able to come up with the wild ideas that you would have never been able to come up with, because you don't just come up with ideas for a living. You know? That's what artists do. You know? So he came up with some really cool shit that honestly, like, I'm going to have to go back and literally go re-look at that interview and just kind of like grasp what the stuff he was talking about, because there's a lot of cool ideas about just simple ways to like monetize digital art and stuff like that you might have not even thought of. Super cool guy, definitely brought light to that whole scene. I don't know if you guys seen the scene that Seb made with polygonal minds, excuse me. It's the sound scene, you know what I'm talking about? The sounds come after you, and he brought a lot of light to that. That is actually based on a physical art piece that plays art behind like some physical pieces. So you have like a piece of paper that has an art on it, and then you run it through this machine and it gives you a sound. And they just made a digital representation of that in the physical. It's just super cool, super artistic.
Yeah, this is an interesting like segue into something like we've talked about meaning like 3D art. Is that like? I think that's like a realm that isn't as appreciated, I guess, in the NFT world. I don't see 3D art like out there yet. And I'm thinking because the platform hasn't been present. I guess Decentraland has that opportunity kind of like to showcase a lot of 3D art. Like if you go to the museum district, a lot of that stuff could be, NFT'd and like become super valuable art pieces, I would think. But why isn't that happening? And I'm not super in tune with the art community, so I don't know. Maybe somebody else can.
It's gotta be worth it for them to do it, just like everything. And Will talks about that all the time. And monetization is important,
Yeah.
And he's saying the same exact thing. He's like, "We'll show up, pay us,"
Yeah.
But there's ways to make it happen.
So is that what's missing? Like an actual platform for the 3D artists? Maybe?
Yeah, they've got to have a reason to be here. Like anything else.
Okay.
We have a reason to be here because we're already invested. They're not invested. They don't own land. They just need to get paid. But he had a bunch of really cool ideas on how to get them paid. And the whole trilogy of coder, 3D modeler, actual artists. That's the difference. The missing piece is the actual artist. We have a lot of coders and 3D modelers working together, but the actual artists, that's what you're missing. The really wild thinkers, the people who really think outside of the box. Just because you make a 3D model does not make you an artist. Not to discredit anybody involved, or I make 3D models, but it doesn't mean I'm I'm just like putting squares up essentially. You know what I mean? Versions of a square.
But somebody else might interpret that as art, though. You never know.
Of course, but if you got a guy who does art and is already accredited, like doing this guy's working with people that have shit in museums. And,
true. Those guys have prestige.
No, but just the way they think, they think like way outside of the box, and I always kind of hark back to like my experience with hip hop. Like my ability to write raps has translated directly to this because I've been able to think outside of the box and just use what I've got to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
And this guy was a representation of that like crazy because when you deal with some of these artists, man, they just come up with these, like extra ways of thinking. We call it that,
Yeah, I feel like the art community is going to come in droves now that the hyperlinking is available. Now that you can basically click on anything and hyperlink to your NFT sale, that's it. That's all they need.
Hyperlink and video, and soon enough, I'm sure we'll see GIF, and these things are going to be a game changer. Like he spoke about an idea like this: what if you could, and not even what if you can make NFTs of videos that were each one play. So every play, then it goes, and then the last play, that becomes worth a lot.
What do you mean? Like it can never be played again? Like
you get 100 plays on a video, one NFT that's a video, and then each one is crazy. One play. You buy a play. Now, if you buy all the plays and then you have up to the last one, you can play it, and then you have the last one. That last play is the last of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like whenever like Martin Shkreli, whatever, bought that Wu-Tang album, and like he wouldn't play it. Yeah, but like
he fumbled that shit, didn't he? He fumbled that shit hard, boy.
Yeah, I think the SEC or the IRS or somebody seized it.
Well, because he was like charging like $10,000. It's like it's like if you took a wearables dude and had him make an AIDS pill. It was like, nah, man. Like a moon boy, making pills that that affect people's life. Bad news,
Oh, his business. Yeah, it's different. That's
exactly. Well, that's the reason why he got in trouble. He didn't get in trouble for the Wu-Tang album. He got in trouble because he was making terrible business.
Yeah.
You got some connections to Wu-Tang, right?
Oh yeah,
Franky.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Buddha Monk is my real close family. So like. We've been close for years, and he was Old Dirty Bastard's best friend. He was on stage with him for all events, and just part of that general family. I mean, if you are around those people, you're gonna be around. There's a huge family of connected people, so it's a pretty awesome thing. It's an amazing thing that I'm part of.
You told them about Decentraland?
You don't just call Wu-Tang up and start telling I spoke to Jimmy about it, but he hasn't really got back to me. Another real busy dude. I spoke to Buddha. I mean, I talk to Buddha all the time, so I spoke to Buddha about it. But, you know, explaining stuff like this, you know, you have to show them, you know, and honestly, I just haven't had a chance to Zoom with them, you know, and so it's really like it's a work in progress, you know. Every person that I get to Zoom with me and then I can show them what's going on, it's a lot easier. Right. But it's that time that you need to get with that person, you know.
Yeah, it's extremely hard to explain Decentraland to somebody that like doesn't really understand like digital assets. So I totally get it.
Yeah, it's you know, that's a little by little. Even like the guy who one of my best friends, I should say, who invested. You know, so he bought the Radio Land where my radio station is, which I don't even know what to call that thing no more because it's like got video, you know, and I almost never use it as a radio station anymore. But that dude, you know, when I showed him like the last month of developments, he was just like, "Whoa," you know what I mean? You know, I had maybe not talked to him for like 14 days. Next thing I know, you know, we're talking about some completely different things, you know.
I think with all these concerts happening in the digital space now, like in Fortnite, I think that's going to be like one of the more popular ways that these musicians start monetizing their music, right? Their art. Just because they have like clear access to like millions of people versus like 50,000 in a concert.
Yeah.
Now not even 50,000 with the social distancing stuff. I mean,
now
a 50,000 venue is going to get turned into maybe a 17,000 person venue. So, I mean, obviously 17,000 is still a lot of people, but like you said, there's more and more of these concerts popping up where maybe more and more people are going to take notice of that stuff. It's just going to take like one or two bigger names to really tip like everything in the direction of like online concerts.
Yeah, I think like the metaverse concept is going to become more mainstream. Will was telling me about a show called Upload. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but he was explaining the premise, and it's very like Decentraland-esque. And I'm like, dude, okay, once people get a hold of this show, they're gonna be like, their curiosity is gonna peak, right? Like, oh shit, I want to be a part of this. And then I heard HBO just picked up Snow Crash or something like that. They're gonna.
Oh, did they?
Really?
Yeah, they're gonna produce like an actual series of that book. And that's like the Bible to all metaverse. You know,
yeah, so I found out about that recently when I interviewed Drew from Meta Factory, and then we are starting a news organization, and we're gonna be doing broadcasts. And I grabbed the name Julian Janis, I think it's called Julian Janis, and he was essentially the inspiration to the author that wrote Snow Crash.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's who I made the anchor man for our news thing.
Hey, Clark, what do you think of that show, man?
Of what? Upload?
Upload, yeah.
It's cool. It kind of reminds me a little bit more of what we don't want the metaverse to be, and what will happen with Horizon and what Facebook's going to do with the metaverse. But it was an entertaining show.
Yeah, it's funny because you get uploaded and you only have so many gigs to like, as far as bandwidth to like interact with stuff, and as soon as you run out of gigs, you're essentially like frozen. And then somebody has to like pay for more service.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It's just some money shit. Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. But overall, it's like a comedic show. I definitely recommend it. It's interesting because you can pick up some stuff that we can do in Decentraland, like some crazy stuff.
It is cool. It's like 30 minutes too, so it's like easily digestible.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Like in one evening, you can watch the whole season.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Yeah, HP. I see you talking about the ratio on the TV. That's on purpose. That's basically that's an old TV. I don't know. You might be a little young for this, but that's an old TV right there. That's how those motherfuckers used to look, dog.
Yeah, but the content was the ratio of the TV.
Oh yeah, I know. Man, this is a one-time use only. We'll put him. He's so technical. Yeah, this is a one-time use only. I mean, maybe another time I'll break it out for some sort of other situation, but I did that on purpose. Basically, I did it like this is an old TV. We'll make it the old way.
Yeah, it's kind of
start broadcasting us in black and white.
What was that?
I said,
yeah, maybe I should have made it. I don't know how to code black and white into the thing. HP, you know the black and white code?
Oh, you should be able to do it.
I knew it. I knew he knew it.
Yes.
Add static in animation. Make it be all staticky as an animation.
Yeah.
Like 2 seconds.
You could overlay that. I'm sure you could overlay that as a texture, actually.
Just hit your computer a few times. It might work.
What was that?
I said just hit your computer a few times.
Yeah, you bang it on the side and shit, and it goes away.
Yeah, I wanted to ask HP about the hyperlink stuff that we just briefly touched on, and there was some conversation in the Discord about it. But HP, what does Decentraland plan to do, if anything, for hyperlinks taking people to nefarious websites and places that their information can get stolen? Is there any way to protect against that, or is it just kind of on the user?
I think they already did all they can do. Like you see clearly the domain, the URL, you can trust the domain. So if you click on random link, it's like if you click on random link on
it's no different than Discord.
Internet. Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Okay.
I think they did all they can do by showing clearly the domain, so you can clearly see where you are going. And I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
Let the record show. This time I didn't ask the nefarious question, so
although you did bring it up. If we're letting the record show.
I have a question because I've always kind of been curious technically. So if in-world NFT transactions become more popular, you know, kind of theoretically, I would think you could code them so that you're prompted to transfer money and then it doesn't actually engage a transaction, and it looks like it's going to engage a transaction, but it doesn't. Is there a way to, I don't know, to build something into the code so that doesn't happen, or is that just not a risk? You know, is it clear when you're engaging in a NFT transaction? Let's say I wanted to sell a wearable in world, and I click it, and then the code prompts me to engage in some sort of MetaMask transaction. And it kind of looks like it would when I buy something on OpenSea. It just gives me a number, and I hit enter, right? And I think I'm going to get something in return. And when I'm on OpenSea or when I'm on the marketplace, I have, you know, I trust that that's going to happen. But like, I could see that being a problem because conceivably you could just code it as like a donation or, you know, whatever it might be without the transaction.
Spoofing MetaMask, essentially.
Well, real MetaMask, but spoofing the back end
with a fake transaction.
Yeah, a fake transaction.
For example, you can put a link saying that you will buy a land for 10,000 mana, and in the end you send yourself 10,000 mana.
Right. Yeah, something like that. Is there a way to distinguish it? Because I just see it being a huge risk that people will do that.
I think it's MetaMask role to clearly describe what transaction you are doing rather than Decentraland role. They can't do much about it. Maybe like put in a small like pop-up saying to which address you are transacting the transaction. But if they start restricting, it will not be good, in my opinion, and you don't have any real solution for that. You can maybe like use some API to find no scam addresses, but there is no real solution for Decentraland for that. It will be to MetaMask to clearly, like for the moment, MetaMask is not giving a lot of description about the transaction you are doing.
Yeah.
And it's a problem everywhere.
It's a problem everywhere.
Yeah, so I think it's more of a MetaMask jobs than Decentraland jobs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So people just got to be cautious. And I think that just like any system, there's going to be trust-based aspects to things that you do in world at the beginning. And if someone goes to, you know, Boss's casino, there's a lot of history there, you know, or if they come to, you know, my store or to Franky or to any of these guys, you know, you know them, you know the face, and you know that they're not going to try to scam people. But, you know, I could see as this platform becomes bigger, hopefully, like you said, hopefully MetaMask or, you know, the back end will take care of clearly identifying that stuff. So I'm worried about that.
There is no backend for that actually for the moment, and I don't think there will be any, because when you are clicking on it, it directly sends the transaction to MetaMask and then to the blockchain. There is no backend run by Decentraland or anything.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's just you download the code, you send the transaction directly to MetaMask, and there is no middleman. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I think what we're doing here in this roundtable, like showing all our faces, I think it's going to set a precedence, a minimum bar of standard for anybody like running a business within Decentraland, just because this brings a lot of authenticity. I mean, here, this is where I met Boss from Decentral.games, like through the roundtable. And like, you know, a lot of with HP and Anorak and Franky, the same thing. I mean, and Clark too. It's like we're setting sort of the standard, like, because once there's another casino and this guy doesn't show his face, I'm pretty sure nobody's going to be going there to gamble, right?
Yeah.
And so
I mean, honestly, it might just be you got to show up to the round table if you want anybody to believe you. You know?
Yeah.
It's similar to what Lauren from Micro Sponsors was touching on earlier, where Clark, you asked a pretty similar question where if you're a bidder and you pay someone for a service or some type of content, what's preventing the person with that service from just taking your money and running? And there was no real system in place tech-wise, but she makes people link their social media accounts to it. And she makes you link business pages to your Micro Sponsors page. So it's on the person that is bidding on stuff and paying money to kind of run their own background check, which is kind of how it should be. I mean, you should always be looking into who you're giving your money to, especially on the internet, especially in crypto. So, I mean, it's definitely a risky thing, but Will, I think that's a good point that people who are out in public and showing their faces and doing stuff like this and active in the Discord, helping people, are going to have a leg up when they're running businesses or selling various items within Decentraland.
Do you guys foresee like some type of like social reputation system for Decentraland?
Oh, absolutely. I've already seen people who have killed their social reputation.
Yeah. So it's important to kind of like build that presence or that representation, right? So that maybe in the future, like your Decentraland reputation is one of these clout attributes that you tie into like your online persona, right? Like your Twitter account, your YouTube
people know you for
profile.
doing weird stuff, then nobody's gonna do business with you. You know?
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking
I
maybe.
think there are some instances of people that don't want to show their face or their real identity. For example, someone that got his popularity destroyed or trust destroyed and come back 2 years later with a new username, a new identity,
persona, whatever. Absolutely.
But being clean, like a few years later, if this person changed and if he doesn't want to show his identity or face, I think I don't think we should be showing our face to prove trust.
Not necessarily to prove trust, but I mean, you know, we have some real sleuthy people, man. They'll know your wallets, your wallet transactions, so they can follow you. You know what I mean? They know like, hey, that's a not official transaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's it's not to say the names associated with that are no good in my book. You know,
there's probably ways to do it. I mean, there's solutions kind of in the real world for, you know, systems where you don't trust the person you're doing business with. And you can kind of create, I could see an organization being put together, for example, that takes money into escrow. And for example, if there's a dispute, you know, you could run a business as long as you deposit 50,000 mana into this escrow account, that if there was an actual dispute, you know, for your 3,000 mana item or whatever it was, that dispute could be reviewed by the escrow holder and then distributed if there was a real problem. Like,
I was almost thinking there could be like a second layer, like, you know, how Matic is like a second layer thing. Like if you could have something that was like a second layer thing where there was like kind of like confirmation of some sort, you know. Essentially, I don't know I don't know how that would work in the code, but I'm just saying, like, you know.
Yeah. Or we could just, like, for example, do multi-sig as an escrow. For example, the seller, the buyer, and micro sponsor, for example, as a middleman. And like, if the seller and buyer are okay, they can just do the transaction. And if there is an issue, there is a middleman in the middle that can decide who get what.
Right.
And we can even put like there are some court system on Ethereum that already exist, and we can put that as a middleman.
Yeah, you can definitely solve a lot of this stuff technically for sure. it's just a little different. Once you see the face, it's like it's a different level of like trust and authenticity. But it's not to say that you can't do that you can't do transactions, you know. But it's a little weird right now just because everything's so early. So it was just something that I was just pointing out that I found interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So one of the things that this boss discovered today was what's it called? Tracks? What's it? Let me find on
Transact. It's Transact.com. Yeah. They have an interesting platform. They essentially do what SendWire.com does, which is just allows anyone to integrate fiat purchases of crypto onto their site. It's really easy. Pretty much just like paste some code into your site, and then your users just KYC through them. But yeah, like you said, Will, it brings in a layer of KYC that, you know, it's a trade-off for people, you know, that want to remain anonymous. But it does allow you to onboard new users, which is good as well. So, I mean, it really, I'm all about just giving the user the option. You know, I don't think, you know, forcing them to do anything is right, especially in crypto. And just giving them the option to, if they want to buy it, just so they can onboard, then that's great. And if they don't, if they want to remain anonymous, then they can acquire crypto a different way. But it might be harder, but yeah, I think they should just have the option.
It's great because if I think uses it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, exactly. I think it has a lot of potential though with the Matic mana, like I was telling you guys earlier, like, because, you know, say like in a perfect world, like several months in the future, if Decentraland integrates Matic to the marketplace, you know, people are transacting on Matic with mana, all the NFTs are on Matic. If you're able to purchase with fiat Matic mana directly from this third party, you essentially won't ever have to have Ethereum, because you need Ethereum to like deposit assets from the main chain to Matic. So because you're paying the gas in that transaction. But once you get to Matic, if you there's a code snippet that they put in every single coin on Matic. It's called EIP 712, and essentially it enables meta transactions. I'll send you guys a little documentation on this, but essentially it enables, you know, gasless transactions, which you know, whoever sets up the smart contract would be able to fund like a pool of gas of coins to pay for all the users' gas that use that smart contract. And so effectively, if you know, if these Transact guys add Matic mana, you know, the whole onboard for a new user would be they could just buy Matic mana directly with a credit card or bank transfer or whatever, and then they would never have to get Ethereum. So I think, you know, that in itself would be pretty powerful in terms of just improving the user experience of using mana in world.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of people coming to your casino and like asking about, you know, trying to play just with fiat? I mean, do you get a lot of that interaction?
Not really. Some people during the AMA I had on the Matic Telegram the other day, like people were asking if I was going to support other coins or if I was going to support fiat. Like a few people did, but I don't think I think they pretty much people know that it's crypto, and we can't. I mean, we were going to integrate fiat a long time ago, but the problem with Wire, we were going to use Wire, and the problem with it is it's mainly for US customers. So, and they didn't have mana. So those are two issues. And so, yeah, I mean, like, you know, the fact that Transact caters internationally, they support euros, they support like the Indian rupee, they support like all these other fiat currencies for transfers or in purchases. I think that really, you know, was a kicker for us.
And ultimately,
because yeah, it just makes it onboard a lot easier.
Ultimately, as business, you're not. 1 second. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep. Yeah.
You're not accepting fiat. You're accepting crypto regardless. So it's just like a front end conversion that's happening.
Exactly. Yeah. So it'd be like, you know, anyone would be able to just buy through this third party Transact, and then the funds would immediately be deposited into the user's MetaMask wallet. So they would have, we would never have custody. So yeah, I mean, we're not selling it directly, and we're just facilitating that, like, you know, interaction between the two. And we're not taking a cut on it or anything. It's just, we see the value in just having it as easier onboard for new users.
So for your casino, do you already have to do like money laundering checks, like even with crypto?
Right now, we have minimal checks in terms of that, just because we're not mainnet and we're not dealing with like large amounts, because we have like a very small maximum bet amount. Right. Once we start getting into like larger bet sizes, I think we really have to have a really solid policy in place for that. We have spoken with our attorney in terms of integrating like a standard policy and having it on our website, but yeah, I think it's maybe I should speak to Clark about that.
Yeah, because I'm curious from the standpoint of there's a little niece. I'm curious from the standpoint of like, if you accept Transact, like you don't have to worry about like money laundering and stuff, right? Like from that standpoint, like because it seems like you're accepting fiat, like from the think of the user's perspective. It's like I'm paying in dollars, but what's really happening on the back end is you're receiving mana. So there's like no like laundry, like money laundering going on for you to do. It's more of Transact to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, because what we're seeing now is because the gas fees are so high, a lot of the purchases that are trying to go through take forever to go through. So
we talk about gas prices for sure, man. Like
the gas
prices are
what's
out of control, man.
Yeah, does anybody know
like
why?
Right now, like for the wearable. Yeah.
HP, you have any insight on the gas prices at all? Like lately?
No, there is no real solution for it rather than just wait. There is some things that we could put on Matic to reduce that, like for example lands and mana, but I don't think we could put name, for example, because I'm not sure. I think boss can confirm that, but we can, for example, check if a name is already taken on both chains. I don't think it's possible. So you will have to leave names only on the main chain.
But I mean, names I'll be okay with. It's like transactions like wearables and things like that that we would do. Like I'm in the wearables channels, even though I might not be talking in them. I'm in them, and dudes are they're like, hey, I'd buy a gang of wearables right now, but gas is crazy, so I'm chilling. So as a not to say that's the most important thing, but it's what we would transact on a like microtransaction basis,
Yeah, wearable should be possible. Is it easy to migrate RC 721 to Matic?
Yeah. It should be pretty quick. It depends and it also depends. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm saying I just thought that August was talking about that, about possibly doing that way to have them transact like at the trade center or something like that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the first step with integrating the NFTs to Matic will be with the wearables. It makes sense just because when you're testing out an each side chain too, like you probably don't want to like upload a bunch of lands on there just because like and plus like, they don't change hands. They don't change hands that quick, like that much. I feel like compared to wearables, just because they're lower. Wearables are cheaper. So I think that's their plan is to integrate the wearables stuff first, and then maybe other things. But it starts with that. Yeah,
all the stuff that doesn't matter as much, right?
I mean,
the
smaller transactions, Anorak, man, cut that out.
Smaller transactions.
We're gonna cut that out right away, Mr. Grinch. Matter of fact, go get your other outfit right now, man. Go get your Grinch outfit right now, man.
Hey, HP, you mentioned using Matic. I'm curious as to what your thoughts are when Ethereum switches over to ETH 2.0, where it's proof of stake.
Like in 2027.
Yeah, that's the problem. Do you still foresee like application for Matic at that point?
I haven't looked at Ethereum P2 enough to have an opinion on it. I don't know, like, will there be much more throughput in transaction?
There should be, yeah. I think it's going to be like 15,000 transactions per second, something like that.
A lot more. I thought even some more than that, but yeah.
People will be able to to max it out. So I think layer 2 will still have utility. And just for the cheaper fees, it will be big.
Yeah, it goes back to our conversation with Andreas Antonopoulos a couple of months ago. It was January, I think, and he was saying that he's never worried about scaling for blockchain, just because as soon as you scale a blockchain, people will figure out how to fill it up, and then you go through another scaling event, and then people are going to figure out how to fill it up again. And so it's a never-ending discussion. And so that's, he says he's not worried, and I agree. It doesn't make sense to worry about that kind of stuff. But I was just curious, is I wonder, once these chains start updating themselves, do these second layers still play a role? And clearly they do, just because people, like you're saying, HP, that will just fill up the transaction throughput in one way or another.
I mean, that's probably
just for the fees, the fees will be much lower on layer 2. So
yeah,
it also allows you to input code to pay the fees too, for like what I was saying earlier about the meta transactions. That's only possible because Matic, when they mirror the tokens on the sidechain, they're able to add that additional code that allows for the gasless transfers from the user's end. So yeah, layer 2 helps not only in scalability and price, but also in adding additional functions to the existing smart contracts on the main chain that aren't necessarily possible to add because those contracts are already deployed and they're used. So like, for example, they're adding that code to the Mana contract, but that Mana contract is the Matic Mana, which is mirrored to the main chain Mana, which was created in 2017. And it's not like, Decentraland could all of a sudden be like, you know what, we're moving over all the Mana to yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. Yeah, I was just curious, thinking about that, because I think, the proof of stake Ethereum is going to take longer than, Vitalik is saying. I think a couple of years ago he said it was going to come out this year.
No, and there was something recently with somebody from Ethereum. It might have not have been him. They said July. Then they asked him about July. He's like, I don't know nothing about what you're talking about. Essentially, it's just man, get out of here, man. That's why I said 2027, because it's come on, man.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility to do that update. So
and to say a time period too, you know what that is, oh yeah, we're gonna do this on this day, and then people, especially if Vitalik said that, people are gonna be up his ass about it, and then what happens if he don't drop it, then it looks terrible,
Yeah,
you're better off just dropping it by surprise one day, just hey, 2.0's out,
right? Yeah, we get questions all the time, when his stuff is going to come out, and we hate saying that it's going to come out soon. It's hard to know. It's hard to know because there's so many things that take precedence in real time that it just takes longer than we anticipate. So it's tough for everybody, I guess.
Yeah. Exactly. This is going to be the process of doing whatever you guys got to do on your end with whatever, with let's say with core encoding or I mean, for a while it was with people and metas,
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, hey guys, when's the next meta coming out? I don't know. Somebody needs to make it. And back during that time, back in the day, it was not a lot of people making metas. Now you got some people making metas, and things are kind of rolling now. So things get going. They find their way, into a groove. It seems like, because same thing with you guys. Definitely found a groove. People, community members started recognizing the value and then going in there and doing it. You got guys like Sugar. He went in there and knocked it out the park. You got Ebril goes in there, starts doing a lot of things. The dude serves. So as you got people that set the example, then it's oh yeah, this is a thing now, and then it gets done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I mean, I don't know, Will, if you want to kind of, me and Will, last night while we were together, we kind of think that's kind of this Ethermon launch that's going on currently is surpassing all of our expectations, and I think it has the potential to kind of
I grabbed one while I was talking to you guys, but I was like,
yeah, the full game that is structured out in our own heads of what we want it to be, and the Ethermon team, of course.
Yeah.
I think if implemented correctly and executed, it's going to be that floodgate opening event for other game developers to kind of be like, okay, yeah, there is something here. There's a use case for Decentraland to build some kind of unique gaming experience.
Yeah, there should be gaming involved. I never was against gaming. I just don't think it's like Xbox, like a gaming platform. But you need something that's going to keep people to doing stuff. Even myself, like I'll probably get an ether mine and probably feed them, from my own land or something. Like it's kind of fun to have something. Knowing like how it is now with my Axie team, like I'm like, I get it now. Dudes just want something to do that's like that. That's kind of like keeping them, going, doing a thing, and it's actually, there's some serious value in that.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys with the MetaZone stuff. Do you think, is your kind of plan eventually to adapt as that becomes native to the platform, or is that, is that something it kind of seems like the types of things that you guys are doing is something that should be native to the platform, and you guys are just making it happen way earlier than the team can. But eventually, obviously model transfers, things like that, NFTing, 3D models and whatnot would be a great thing to have native to the platform. What are your thoughts on kind of how MetaZone fits in that kind of future world where this is all, baked in?
It's funny you asked that, Clark, because we were talking about that very thing last night. We were up talking about this till like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And I think Iman also has some thoughts here, but my perspective is a lot of the functionality that's going to happen on Decentraland is going to be third party for the most part. And that third party, if you look at any of the past history games like World of Warcraft, there's been economies built by third parties, even just blog posts economies, forums, game guides, all that stuff has always been third party.
Yeah, mods, add-ons, all that stuff.
And it's not to say that this, what we're doing couldn't be a first party like addition to Decentraland. It's not to say that, but if you think about it from a technical standpoint, to do something like that would take a DAO vote. The community would have to agree to adopt that technology, and then there would have to be some sort of transaction to take place for that. And who knows whether the community would want to do something like that, so. And it's not up to the team either. It's not like the team can say, hey, let me purchase MetaZone and let's just take their technology and just integrate it to Decentraland.
Right.
It's because it's not up to them anymore. It's really a DAO vote. Now, if the DAO, they vote for, let's do this, and, then that's probably what will happen. But yeah, that's sort of how I see things. Does that answer your question, Clark?
Yeah, no, I think because it's an awesome idea. It's the idea that you can basically have NFT'd 3D models. I guess the only thing I don't love about it is that it seems like a closed system, right? And you kind of have to have and so I wonder, I think it's an awesome idea, and I wish it was a more open system, even if that meant it was an open system through you guys. I wish there were just ways that it interacted better with the platform so that, it could be more functionally, and again, I don't have the technical background, so
I understand.
A lot of that makes sense, but
no, you're absolutely right. I think the only thing I'll say to that is it seems like it's a closed system, like from the perspective of, we have a builder, people just building stuff using the builder application. We just haven't supported it just because it hasn't been the highest priority. Our high priority items are 2 things. It's smart contract payments, and then the second thing is NFTs. And the reason why both of them take a while is because first, with smart contract payments, if you mess that up, it's really hard to recover with that, because you would have to start over essentially with smart contracts. And then those NFTs are using logic from the smart contract payments. And so if you mess up one thing, you mess up the second thing. And then messing up the second thing is another situation, just because there's also game logic in capability with these NFTs. They're not standard NFTs that you can get from a mint base, right? There's logic built into it. Having said that, there's still ERC 721s or ERC 1155s that are tradable on OpenSea. And so it's a long process for sure, but it's long only because we want to do it right. And that's the reason.
Yeah, and if you don't, then you have to redeploy it, right? So
Yeah,
that
they
would
have
just
to
be a
redeploy.
nightmare.
Yeah, because then what we want to avoid is like you go on OpenSea, there's like MetaZone, and then there's MetaZone 2, and then there's MetaZone 3. Just because we've had to like update and upgrade and all that stuff, and it doesn't look right?
Yeah,
So
right.
Yeah.
It's cool though. I mean, you know what's been cool for me is to see what people have been able to do with MetaZone stuff. You know, I went to what was it? I went to Studs the first day, right? I'm like, look at this! Like this dude really like found a really cool way to do things. And then
like you guys got to check out Crazy Jim's place. Man.
Crazy Jim. No, that was the other one. I was on a reference because I saw the car that me and Fran and KJ worked on, and I'm like, that's such a cool iteration of what that means. You know what I mean? It's just like it's pulled up in front of the club. That makes sense, you know. And like it's the creativity that people are bringing to that platform is gonna really essentially to me that's what is gonna like make the statement is that your own users' creativity and what they're able to do with the stuff that you guys are putting out. Your updates are gonna bring a lot more like availability of that creativity, but they've already kind of set a standard. Like they're being creative on their own. You gave them a remote control. They're like, cool, watch this.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. So one of the last things I'll mention as far as what we're doing with the Ethermon is we like to keep the community updated as to like how much revenue that this is generating, because we feel like if people recognize the potential that Decentraland has, and we were sharing with each other a bunch of articles from Second Life, and there was one recently talking about somebody making $100,000 making digital stuff, right? And so like talking about the revenue is really just to encourage like, hey, there's really something here in Decentraland that people can contribute and like potentially make a living off of. And so Ethermon dropped the article on Monday, and in 7 days it generated 840,000 in revenue for Mana.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's almost double our revenue in the 3 months, right? In a single week. And many of the purchases have occurred through Chinese like communities. And
man, when I saw them put that post up with the I don't know what language that was in, but I was like, yes. It's just like one of those moments where you're like, man, they're reaching out to a whole like region of people that we had no access to. There's no way.
Wow.
If I was helping me, you, Iman, Corp, none of us could be able to just reach out to that group. We don't know the language.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what I've been trying to do recently with Roy from Dragon City.
Yeah.
I've been talking to him a lot just because I think there's such an opportunity to kind of combine crews and get people to these events and get the communities mixing. And I think they're being directed.
There's an Chinese community on Decentraland, but we just don't see them as they don't have access to Discord or Twitter. Or
I heard that as well. Yep,
that's true.
So yeah.
Like I think Boss mentioned that they're on WeChat, and they're not really not gonna be in Discord. So it's hard to communicate with them that way. But if there's a way, like let's say what you guys are doing, now you have a partner, like you guys have linked up now, and now they'll reach out to them. You guys are already doing their thing over here, So that's really, and then somebody else had spoke to me. I forget who it was, and I don't want to discredit anybody, but talking about that community. I think it was Drew from Meta Factory because he's friends with Jin, and that community over there, they're like years ahead of us in VR. Like there's people over there that live in VR like that. And I saw Jin today, and I was like, Jin, me and you got to catch up because I really want him to take me for a walk, like a VR walk. We'll do that on the screen whenever I do get a chance to get with him about that.
Yeah, and they do have a message for us Americans, the Chinese. And so one of the guys that joined our Discord, and he was like saying, man, I hope you Americans really push Ethermon, amongst yourselves, just because they think it's going to be really big, but they also want like Americans to support the game as well. I was like, yeah, man, we're doing everything we can.
It's a vice versa situation.
Yeah.
Like they feel the way we feel about them and vice versa. That's what I'm saying. Like we want them to be involved because we want them involved in Decentraland, and like I said, it's a vice versa. I got to imagine that we all feel the same way. It's just that we don't know that it's accessible as it probably is. It's probably nothing for them to kind of get their people to kind of rally and it's obviously, you know, we as you know, we're able to rally people from time to time, you know.
We're gonna fix that. I think in the next month we're gonna have, you know, that's what I'm working on trying. You know, some of my efforts have been kind of trying to get that to work. And I think once we have a joint event and we see, you know, 200 people show up, it's going to change things, you know, because then you can pitch things differently. You can start translating things.
Right. Yeah. That's going to be a huge game changer is when we have, I call it that plug, you know, but that person that is like speaks both languages, knows both cultures, and then you can, you know, kind of like have like a coexisting situation because you're like, hey, you know, we want to do this event, and then it gets translated into whatever language, because I don't want to call one language or another, but you know, it gets translated into whatever language, and then everybody gets the message now, you know. So now we have that really the whole world aspect, you know, because we're almost there with the whole world, you know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, we were talking about it earlier, me and Misha and Kay. Like, I mean, I'm working with Kay from time to time, you know, from Sugar Club, right? Me and HP work pretty closely. You know, it's these people all over the world that are working together because they're finding talent in the other people, you know? And that's really, we're going to, you know, if we can link that to that part of the world, oh, man, that's where it's going to hit.
It's funny. I was talking to this Chinese person on Discord, and he told me he was using Google Translate to communicate with me. Yeah. And, like, I promise you, it looks like he was just speaking to me in English. Like, it was perfect English. Like, Google Translate has really come a long way. Definitely. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So yeah, we're showing a lot of interest, and this is just another example of like other games that exist. Like that gameplay can be adapted to Decentraland, and like this is a good example. Like we're not hosting any part of this game, like in MetaZone servers, right? It's all hosted on their servers, and it's just we're helping them design a game that is aligned with landowners, which is a fairly new concept for everybody. And those landowners who adopt it, that's the game. That's you go to those lands to eventually feed your Ethermon and then purchase more Ethermon through purchasing eggs.
Yeah.
And you hatch the eggs, and then you start taking care of your Ethermon through there.
And then, Will, look at that. You found like almost like a secondary market after that. The dude who built the farmhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah, that just came out of nowhere. That was a brilliant idea on his
literally genius. You know what I mean? It was like, when I looked at it, I was like, wow, that's great. You know? And one day when you guys, you know, support regular building, I'm gonna build some stupid shit looking. You know what I mean? Just like to put my stuff inside that thing, you know? And you know, so like, you know, I see good things going for that. I'm happy that I got one. Little piece. Little piece.
You got it at a really good price too, man.
Oh, I mean, I knew, you know, I knew what I was dealing with. I'm sitting there talking to you guys. I'm like, wait a minute. You know, I might as well just do that.
Yeah.
Cool. Just think of the people who are going to be taking care of their Ethermon. Like each Ethermon has experience points, and you yourself as a player also has experience points. So you can imagine a market like forming here. The more that you take care of your Ethermon, you can just go and flip it on OpenSea, right? So a lot of people are going to be grinding and like
that's what they do in Axie. They make a gang of Axies and they sell them. And some like I was interviewing Chief. And he was saying, I wasn't interviewing him, excuse me. He was giving my team a training, and Anorak was there for that thing. And he was talking about how he's got people that play for him in third world countries, that's their income. It's better than the income that they would be getting. So, you know, they play Axie for him, and then that's essentially how they get money. You know?
What are they earning, though, when they play, though?
So you get Axies, and then you can sell the Axies. So, I mean, essentially, it's just money.
Yeah, so... Like every win or like every mission you complete in adventure mode, you get what's called SLPs, the small love potions. And right now I think those are around like 1 cent or something like that. Like it's not much at all. But if you sit there and you just grind all day and you're doing missions and accomplishments and winning games and stuff, I mean, you can make like, I don't know, like $2 to $3 USD and SLPs, which for some countries, like the example that was given initially was Argentina. Like some of these countries that their paper currency is literal trash.
Yeah.
Like
Venezuela.
being able to earn that while playing a video game is huge. Like that's why Axie has people.
And also, you got to remember, like, there's certain countries. Like, I remember, I think it was Venezuela. Yeah, I think Venezuela.
Venezuela, that's what it was, not Argentina. Yeah,
I was gonna say, as an Argentinian, I might have to step.
But no, Venezuela. So Venezuela had an issue with miners, and they were illegal. So imagine like instead of illegally mining, trying to do something for yourself, you can just play this video game, you know, and it's probably not illegal, or they don't even know about it. So who cares? You know what I mean? So you know, it was a way for somebody to be able to do that, you know, to make something for themselves. And again, they can sell the Axie. So you get the potions. The potions are worth whatever Anorak's talking, a couple of cents or whatever. You get a couple dollars worth of potions. You can make an Axie. You can sell that Axie for $15.
Yeah,
you know, if it's the right Axie, you know.
Lucky.
Yeah, you might get lucky and get a $30 one.
It might be like a $40, $50 Axie. Like, I mean, it's cool. I all of you guys know, or most of you guys know how
Anorak's one of the baddest motherfuckers in that game. That's what it is.
First place.
Yeah, I held the first the number one spot for like 22 minutes yesterday.
Super impressive. Hey, y'all don't understand how impressive that is. I got 9 guys going at it that are not close to that.
That's cool, man.
So.
You just gotta know other people's gameplay and stuff. But
you also need a decent amount of Axies, and we're a little spread thin, but we're gonna be strong. We're gonna be strong.
I have a question about Axies though. A ton of Axies were distributed during the treasure hunt, and because I'm always like looking at
Axies. No, those were crypto kitties.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure there were Axies announced for that.
No way.
Like I'm pretty sure, Clark. I'm pretty sure you're right. HP, was there Axies for the treasure hunt that you know of?
I'm not sure. I will check right now if I got some.
I got some. I got some eggs, I think.
You got eggs?
Some Axie eggs.
Oh, there was Axies. I remember.
Yeah, I remember them announcing it because I was like, oh shit. But now that you say that, I never got one.
I didn't get any. I didn't do none of that. I was so frustrated. I was out like 30 minutes into that shit. I was like, done.
Hey, but HP's videos, like that's really what helped me get through it.
Yeah, HP's
videos. Yeah. I was just done. I was done before he even like 3 days before he ever put a video out. I was done.
Yeah, dude, HP. Those videos are so funny, and I was talking about this I think last week, where all of your videos have like 200 views, 75 views, and then Coin Rush has like 1.3 thousand views.
Yeah.
That's good.
But
that one was tough.
Yeah, those were awesome.
I was quite surprised of the number of views that the video got. Like, I was thinking about like 100 or 200 per video, but some got over 1,000. It's like
it was a necessary thing. It was something that honestly no one else was probably going to be able to do. You know, as far as making the video about it, like maybe somebody would have figured it out, you know, and talk about it in a Discord. But making every video of that was huge for a lot of people. And I know you got a lot of people some money for that, so you know they should be thanking you.
That's right. That's right.
So, hey, sticking with this gaming stuff, HP, do you know anything about the event on the events calendar that's the Soccer World Cup Championship or anything like that? Do you know anything about that event, the Soccer Championship?
I just know the event on I know like the game, but I don't know like what will be the prize or it will be organized. I don't know, but that's.
You don't know how it will, okay.
But I think for
the
event, the launch event, there was a football stadium, and it will be basically the same stadium but with better physics and teams.
Because I was thinking that like when that game was like when I went and did that, I was like, this game could be kind of awesome if it was a little faster. This could be made to be good.
Yeah. Just like
a couple more angles on the ball, that type thing. Like, this could be something.
Yeah. So it will be a soccer game in real time with team.
Yeah, that could be. It could work good if it's. The one issue I think I see being an issue is what we've talked about before about like how things aren't like linked. So if I'm standing next to Will, that he might be turned backwards on my screen, and his screen is facing forward with me. So I can see that being
there will be to counter that. Like there is some delay in the movement and everything in peer-to-peer, but everything will be taken care of.
That's cool. I'll leave it alone at that then.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was more asking. I guess I phrased the question a little bit vague there, but yeah, what Franky was saying, like how that would work, because that's something like sports competitions and tournaments. We're sitting here talking about what can bring people from all these different countries together, and I mean, it's proven every 4 years the Olympics bring people together. The FIFA championship stuff brings people together. Like if we have a soccer tournament with all these different companies from all around the world and stuff, I mean, that's something that gives people a reason to drop in World for and gives them kind of a rooting interest in something. So I am excited to see how that plays out. It's been on the calendar for a pretty long time now, and it's only a couple weeks away.
When is World Cup? I mean, not that we're just going to have it now, but I'm just saying, like.
Well, I think the Olympics were scheduled for this year, so I'm guessing it's in the next. It's 2 years because I think they're like alternating, kind of, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That could be like a super cool event where you actually had people representing their countries, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure with all the soccer, football, my myopic American view on the sport, calling it soccer. But,
that's right.
But no, it'll be cool. The gaming stuff's definitely something that
I'd be in the stands. I know I'm not gonna play in that, but I'd be in the stands for sure for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Cheering on Anorak. Go Anorak!
We need like some American flag wearables or something.
Oh, by that point, I mean, we'd have if we were gonna have a World Cup event, we'd have every country. I'm sure, like as far as a wearable goes, you know. So,
like
I'm not gonna put no words on the team's mouth or nothing like that. But come on, man. 2 years from now, a World Cup event, we can figure it out.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. 2 years from now is like 10 years in our time right now. Like the way things are moving too. Like I can't even imagine what this thing looks like in 2 years because I wouldn't have imagined this.
I think quite quick actually because Decentraland exists in 3 years. Like it went super fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, even like when I bought this land that we're all hanging out at, there was the idea of the train system, and then when the train system went up, it was like, whoa, like that's real and pretty crazy actually. You know, Toxam killed this. I mean, and I'm interested to see where this goes because, you know, we were looking at that map just the other day. I think it was Maddie had put it up or something like that. The map of the heights. You guys all seen that before?
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
How high everybody can go, and Toxam can go high with this train system. So I don't think that this is like even the limit. I think that he could go maybe, I would say probably twice as high as what he has it right now. So it's very interesting to see what people might end up doing with their stuff, you know, in the future.
That map's interesting. I was wondering because I was thinking about height and how some of these buildings might get big and they might build to the estate heights. But then I was looking at some of these estates that have individual parcels, you know, owned by someone else within them. And doesn't that actually limit the height of the estate to the subdivided parcels? Because you can't utilize anything other than a rectangle for the build height, right? So if you've got a parcel in the middle, you're miscounting. Oh, you can.
Yeah.
How do you?
Sure that goes.
You can
I guess using
do
the
it
SDK.
just a builder, but yeah, with the SDK you can specify which land you want. For example, there is a casino of boss that have a really weird shape, and there is no problem with it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I don't think we will see like super huge building because you have to do it in a single scene. So you have the height. It's not the estate size that counts. It's the scene size. Okay. And a scene is loaded at like one time. All the parcels in a scene are loaded at the same time. So if you do an enormous scene, it will just take ages to load. So I don't think people will do it. At least right now with the current loading.
I can see it. Yeah, I can see that.
Kind of like Barter Town. Like Barter Town's kind of like that in a way. it takes forever to load. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, on even some casino, like it takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes to load, but on internet it's really long.
Yeah, I could see that for deploying. Like, I had mentioned, I don't know, I mentioned something to Toon one day, and he was like, "Man, you know what it is to load, like to deploy a Genesis Plaza, man, like that, and it's just gonna happen in 5 seconds." You know, like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, like the previous model for the Genesis Plaza was like 200 megabytes. It's like just enormous to load for a new player.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Also, I was telling somebody earlier today, you know, a lot of people had issue loading in here, and I'm like, this is why I don't do huge events here normally, because the train and all the things that are built around here, they're beautiful and I love it. But man, if you haven't been here before, it takes a little bit to load, you know? So it's kind of nice to just like have the radio station or whatever, my building over there, that, you know, it's pretty guaranteed you're going to load in there pretty nice and easy, you know? So, you know, that matters, definitely.
HP, what are some of your thoughts on a desktop client, whether that would be good and what efficiencies that could provide, just for people who aren't as technical?
I think it would be really awesome, but we have to think about integrating MetaMask or Web3 tweets. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's to Decentraland to do it or like CryptoVoxel, like a third party doing it. The protocol of Decentraland is open, so anyone could do a third-party client for it on desktop with maybe some feature like developed a different way to maybe gain performance or leaving some feature out to gain some performance.
Yeah,
but I think it would be very awesome to integrate VR or just for performance. The web is not. It's better than before, but it's still not the native performance.
Then I had a follow-up to that. If you did that, how easy or difficult do you think conceptually it would be to write the crypto aspects of Decentraland into a backend, so that the front end feels just like a normal game, but everything on the back end is being run and managed by the blockchain?
I don't think I have enough. I don't know enough about security on Web3 to talk about that, because there is a lot of things we need to think about, like how to interact with smart contract, how to show efficiently the UI. For example, MetaMask, we were talking about their UI, but it's still better than some other wallets, and it's really hard to do something nice for the user experience and nice for the advanced user at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's pretty complex. Like MetaMask is being developed actively since a lot of years. So
HP, do you think so? That's probably predominantly a third-party activity for somebody to create a client.
Yeah, I think it's a full-time job to do it. And
would you agree? Would you answer the same way for a mobile application for Decentraland?
That's how it goes. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Some people could do it. It's not a problem. Like the client is open source, like for the web. But yeah, there is a lot of things to think about, and I think we should maybe use the DAO to find someone to do it.
Right. Yep.
Makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's like, I find it like that it probably would be worth the money, but you're right. It should be something that we all kind of like decide on, you know.
It's a big task. Whoever
if we're gonna do it like based on like Decentraland, like in Second Life, there's several different clients that people have kind of like commissioned, you know. And that could be a thing as well, but I think you'd have to have user counts up that it was super worth it for the people working on that to do, you know.
Yeah, on Second Life it's 20 years old, so
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
True.
You know,
I guess so. One of the ways to monetize it, I mean, it's an application. You just pay $20 to install on your computer, on your phone. That funds the team maintaining it, and you have a full-on mobile app and desktop app.
True, but you still need the users for that $20 a month or whatever, $20 or whatever. I say you would, but there's only 700 of us as opposed to, 60,000 of people that would make sense for everybody involved and working on it to build it.
Yeah.
So I think that,
I think it would, paying for something like that would be worth it for most people. I mean, they're used to it anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm saying I'm not saying the people wouldn't pay for it. It's just that we'd have to get that number to the right sweet spot. When you go to the developers, like, all right, we got 60,000 people ready to pay $20 a month or whatever it is, this amount of money. Then they're like, all right, cool, that makes sense to me. That makes sense for me to break from my situation that I'm working on right now to go work on that.
Yeah, true.
I think that's also part of what HP was saying, that we could get the DAO to provide some sort of seed funding to get the project started, and because the barriers to entry are what's going to be tough on that. And so if the DAO provides seed funding to get past those barriers to entry, and then there's some sort of profit model that keeps it running, that I think that could be the incentive to bring in a real app developer or a real desktop client developer to do it. I guess you guys take it away on that, but I just wonder, does that eliminate some of the centralized aspects to it, or would we have to get the right group to develop it so that it remains?
I think it will be actually the opposite. It will decentralize Decentraland even more, because we will not depend on a single platform anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it will be better for the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
This is probably the biggest topic of today's discussion. Is we really need to find somebody to take the reins on this, because I think it's important to have a desktop client as well as a mobile client. And like from HP's perspective, like that's probably not the primary or that's not the primary goal for the Decentraland team to really be doing that.
Right.
And so it's really up to us to figure that out. Like, who's going to do it?
Yeah.
And do we trust this guy and all that stuff?
Right.
This is something like we really need to push to figure out, like, how do we get this thing going?
Yeah, the DAO has I think $600,000 per year of mana, so we can find someone even with 5% of it, or 10, but we can find someone to do it quite easily.
I think I had asked you one time, HP, and you were like, "Yeah, just need to start with like about $50,000." Something like that. Yeah, responded to me like, that's cool. Yeah, you can do that. Just need like $50,000 right now.
So I guess this is a good outcome from this whole roundtable. That was like the whole purpose of this, right? We just kind of like on the spot came up with a new proposal for the community to vote on. So it'd be a good idea to actually execute on this and like see what happens.
Once the DAO gets up and running, I can write it.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Yeah.
Clark's busting his superpowers out.
Clark is going to be the app crew now.
Do you have mana effect on the DAO?
Do I?
Do you have mana on DAO? Stacked?
I don't. No, I don't. I don't even know how to use it. I didn't even know it was working.
We should maybe do tutorials to do it, because for the moment I think we are like 20 to have mana wrapped on the DAO, and like it's not enough at all to do votes. We need at least
all my mana is wrapped in Bitcoin glasses.
Because HP, you've said before that it's easy to wrap your mana and then take it back out, right? Is there many steps you have to go through, or is it pretty simple?
No, it's very simple. You just go to a website, connect with MetaMask, and click a button. You enter how much mana you want to wrap, and just press enter and confirm the transaction. So once the vote is started, if you deposit mana after the vote starts, you can't use this mana to vote. So you have to deposit mana before vote starts. But once you vote, you can withdraw the mana and the vote will stay there. So yeah, it's better to always have some mana that you don't use on the DAO in case the vote starts without any announcement or anything.
Is there a minimum amount of time that wrapped mana has to have been staked in order for your votes to count? Or is it
No,
like
you
you
just have
before,
to have it before the vote starts.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Is it safer than the DAO we all know about in terms of how safe is your mana?
It's pretty safe. It's systems that already have been audited by multiple companies, and it's not something that Decentraland developed. It's something from another company, Aragon, that's used in a lot of places, and so it's quite secure. It's not 100% secure like everything, but it's secure enough.
How much mana is currently wrapped on the DAO?
I think there is around 20 million, but there is 2 users with like 9 million each.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Damn.
So
That's
it's
not good.
Yeah.
90%. Well, but that's not counting the district leaders, right? And
No, it's only mana for the moment. There is no land or anything.
And so when the district leaders come in, right? When the districts are in, that's what would, for example, Dragon City, how many, do you guys know off the top of your head how many?
8,000.
8,000, and what is it, like 2,000 per parcel, or 1,000 per 2,000 per parcel?
2, I think. Yeah.
So that's 16 million right there. So that's, I mean, that one wallet will double. So I mean, I think, you know, it's going to be interesting early on when a lot of people aren't wrapping their mana. The types of politics that go into these votes, I think, will be interesting. You know, and again, establishing these connections with the districts and the communities, and getting it's going to probably at the beginning be, you know, almost like a committee of people steering the, you know, the platform. But I mean, it's people who are very invested because they're managing giant districts or whatever. So I mean, I get it. I'm not going to push back on the model right now, but I do think it'll be interesting to see. Like I have some mana, but I don't have, you know, 10 million mana to wrap. You know, yeah. So for me, I think my time is better spent talking to Roy and convincing him that something is a good idea than it is, you know, trying to wrap 100,000 of my mana or 500,000 of my mana. Now, eventually, I hope that someday that will be the case. But I wonder if it's going to have to be both at the beginning. You know, really talking to. I mean, almost like it sounds like there's going to be lobbying in Decentraland, and I hope that that's done in a responsible way. And that it doesn't become.
When is lobbying ever done in a responsible way? I mean, that's not even a thing.
That's my pushback on the DAO, and I really hope this gets proven wrong.
Esteban is saying that in the next week the DAO will be more useful, so you have to start wrapping mana right now.
Yeah.
And the mana. Yeah, there will be an announcement 1 week before the vote starts, so you will have time to.
We have that little time, yeah, to do it.
Got it. No, that's good. I mean, I'm excited to see how the DAO works. I think as an investment vehicle, it makes a lot of sense. I'm curious to see how it works as a governance model, and you know, I think that'll be interesting. I think that it's gonna. I do think that there's gonna be a lot of politics involved early on, and I kind of want to see how that plays out and see if these district leaders, you know, get involved with their massive voting power. But we'll see.
The districts are actually managed by multi-sig, so like a single person can't use all the mana, all the wrap mana to do that. Like they have to sign with multiple address, multiple person to do the vote. So I think first it will make some people just not vote because too long, but yeah, it's not a single person that decide for the whole district.
Gotcha.
They can't, or they.
No,
so like
it's
how?
It's a multi-sig situation. So you'd have everybody involved, basically trying to like vote in their own right. You know.
So, for example, you have a wallet with 5 addresses, and you need at least 3 that agree to be able to pass the transaction.
Okay. So, but in a sense, if the district leader convinces the district can put all their votes. It's not difficult if there is consensus for the district to put their votes in a single direction.
Yeah, we don't really know how land vote will work yet, so we can say it will be super easy, but it should be, in theory, just a transaction, and that's all.
Okay. That's interesting. I want to see how it plays out. It's really intriguing to me from a governance perspective.
So changing subjects just a little bit, boss, how's the progress going on like the Matic launch? Are you guys ready to go, or what's going on?
It's good. Right now we're kind of working on, I think I sent you guys the documentation for the proof of stake bridge, which kind of it speeds up withdrawals, because traditionally on Plasma, the withdrawals take like a week because there's a challenge period. And that's the kind of trade-off that you make when you have instant transactions. You have to wait for the withdrawals if you want to withdraw the assets to the main chain. So right now we're working on that, with that integration directly with Matic, and it's a bit difficult just because no one has really done it before. But I think, to answer your question, I think like our games themselves on Matic are working well. We're on the testnet 3, and I think so in that sense we're ready to go. We're just trying to finalize kind of how the user flow would be for someone that like comes to our site, has mana, or would like to purchase mana. So we're integrating Transact, how they would deposit that mana to Matic from the main chain, just as simple as possible and as seamless as possible, and then be ready to go. So I mean, I think we got about a week until the end of the month. I think Matic's on the right track in terms of their launch. We're running a node, so I've been really keeping up to date with like exactly how they're rolling out all the validators. But yeah, I think we're definitely going to have some big announcements though by the end of the month.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know that casino is going to bring a ton of people like on a daily basis, so that by itself, like the DAU should start going up. So HP, do you have you seen the DAU like on average going up, or has it been pretty much the same?
I'm not sure for the DAU, but the weekly is going up a bit. Like after the launch, it was quite low, but it's going up. We have like sometime for daily, we have over 500 for daily. It's quite nice actually, I think. For weekly, we're around like 2,500, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I noticed, like, because I've been talking about hanging out in Genesis, so I've been hanging out in Genesis, and I noticed a lot of new users. So they'll pop in. They might not stay, but they'll pop in. That's the reason why I was saying go hang out there, because they're popping in, and then they don't find something that entertains them, they're gone. And they might not come back for a long time. So I talked to a lot of people that drop into Genesis like, hey, I haven't been here for 3 months. What is there to do? And so you might have the first person to go in there for the first time, and they're not come back for 3 months after that. So, if you're not there, like Iman had asked me, like, he's like, do you see a lot of people like from time to time, but it's a guarantee. If you're not there to meet somebody there, like, there's nothing going on, like, then they're out. They're out for 3-4 months, a year, whatever. They to them that's no time. To us, that's a billion years.
Yeah.
So it's very important to me to build that community. Hey man, like, listen, there's whatever. We're all here talking, but you know how it is. We're all in the Discord talking. You can be in the Discord talking and just standing in Genesis, and somebody has a question, and then they have somebody who has been involved with this for a long time to answer that question in a more insightful way than the bots. The bots are good, but it's like, it's better if I tell you that the bots are good.
Yeah. And that's how I met Scorpion in Genesis Plaza.
Really?
Yeah.
That was his first time dropping in? No.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that was his first time, but obviously this was months ago. But
yeah,
that's how I met him. I mean, we just happened to be in Genesis Plaza, and we were like, he was asking me questions about it, and I was like, hey, check out my shit.
Yes,
and he saw everything, right? So
I mean, that's another advantage of doing it, is you can point people in the direction of your stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not bad. Like these guys joke all the time. Like Anorak jokes with me that I'm gonna be out there like, yo, I got these Bitcoin glasses, man. Yeah, I got this and that wearable. And I honestly do not do that because I can sell my stuff, man. I ain't tripping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more about like actually having the person have somebody that is straight up with them, tell them that, hey, man, like this is what you do to not just blow it. You know what I mean? I had a dude the other day. I told you guys. Dude dropped in. He's like, hey, I got 100,000 mana. I was like, hey, give it right here. That was a joke. But when I actually got to talking to him, I was like, hey, I don't care how you do with your money. I'm saying that I'll just help you not blow it. I'll help you. Like I can show you what like not to do. Don't go straight to the market and then start grabbing up wearables when you could have at least looked at OpenSea. Here's where you get your name at. Stuff simple stuff that a person could be turned off after the first transaction and then trade that mana in for Ethereum and never come back. So essentially that's my angle. It's not like I'm actually out there trying to like sell my own wearables. I don't care about that. I'll make.
But I think a lot of people are going to do that. I think that's going to be good.
Cool.
It's going to be really cool because it's going to create that vibrant energy that people are going to like gravitate to. It's going to be like a trading floor of like a Wall Street, firm. Imagine how much energy is in that.
I don't know if you guys been to that trade center. The trade center is wild, man. Like the information that's in there, like I don't even know how to search for some of that information. So it's actually pretty cool. And I don't know. I think that could be a really like good asset in the future for a new player, or even honestly, if they keep evolving that thing, like for experienced player, or a user, I should say.
Yeah, even if people are there selling their own stuff, I mean, you still drop in and there's 20 people there that are there to answer all your questions because they're going to try and make a sale, but they're still answering questions. And as soon as someone sells some sort of item there to a new player for, fair value, but still 15,000 mana or something like that, people are going to be posted up there. Like you said, if you're in Discord anyway, what is it to have another window open and just...
It's just another window.
We already talked about the agent community and how some of them can't access.
They can't
Discord.
communicate in Discord. Exactly.
You come in game and you get some, just standard stuff, a picture, or you're wearing the shirt and you post a price. Anyone can understand that. They can see what you're selling. So it could be a pretty. Yeah, I've been thinking. I mean, because I think anyone who comes from a gaming background has done that before, right? You go to the market and you sell your items, and every game at some point has that. I know I've done it, and so it could be fun. I mean, it's something to grind. It's something to do, in the game, and it's easy. Once the back end support is there.
So the Asian community actually cannot access Discord, or it's just not their preference?
I think it's just not their thing.
Just not okay.
Just like WeChat's not our thing.
I gotcha. No, that makes sense. We touched on it a couple times. I wasn't exactly sure if I was.
Like, I'm sure you could get on WeChat, but why don't you have WeChat yet, Anorak?
Well, I was going to say the same company owns both.
I'm just joking, but it's just like it's just a thing that they do. They do this like second nature. We do this second nature, and
Well, they also have the Great Firewall of China, so it's for them to access Discord and all that too.
I think it would be cool for the Genesis Plaza to link out to the various Discord servers. If you're in that trading center, just
it's true.
That way people know this is where you can go. It'd be cool to see that Discord server a lot more packed.
Oh, another thing, since I have the platform to say it, somebody had told me, having maybe a little music in that first area where you drop in Genesis probably wouldn't hurt nobody. Maybe some not blasted music, because I know it's so tough because music streams, they just play at highest volume, and but it would be a decent idea to have some elevator music playing there or some shit like that. Just something that just wasn't just silence. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of public domain music out there that's pretty cool. I think it would be awesome getting licenses for everything is cool too, and I think that people should do that. But there is such a big body of public domain and royalty-free music out there that people can use without any issue, and it would be cool if Decentraland was a platform for smaller artists to get some of their music out and whatnot. I think that would be cool.
Is there a place in the Genesis Plaza actually where you can get music? There is a few radio that can play. I'm not sure where is it. I think there is like one big tower with text message on top, and there is one small tower. I think it's in the small tower. I'm not sure the name of it, but there is a DJ set, and you can click on it to set.
That's kind of what I was referencing. Like, if we could just kind of have that playing, let's say, way lower than that, right when people drop in, it just would be something like, oh wow, there's music playing. You know, it's just one of those things, man. It's not.
Yeah, but there is a lot of different people, and they don't like the same type of music.
Again, that's what I was saying. Like, more like some elevator music, some like just some, I don't know, some junk. You know, there wouldn't be like specific genre or another. You know, just some like, I don't know, flute music or something. I mean, just something. You know. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
If you stay days in the plaza, you will just
you'll go crazy. then that's what incentive to get your ass up out of there and go take a walk. You know.
Hey Anorak, I was curious. What's the feedback you've been getting from all the presenters at the conference?
Everyone today was really happy with how things went. They're also all companies who are in their infant stages, as touched upon during the stuff. So I don't know if they have very much to compare it to, but they loved seeing all the stuff on Twitter. Like, that was their biggest thing was, oh my gosh, like, it's so cool to see people standing around listening to me speak and all these videos of everyone here. And they really liked the easy integration of like slides and stuff, doing the screen share. It made everything a lot easier with dealing with the presenters. And I know Maddie has been getting the slides and then giving them to someone from the team, maybe Esteban or Sam Toonpunk or one of those guys. And today it was just Franky was running all the screens, and the presenter that was going up would screen share it. So it went pretty smooth. They were all pretty grateful for the platform, and like I said, they were loving the Twitter stuff. They were loving seeing their brands on Twitter and seeing the community out there. So thank you to everyone that came out, because that does make a big difference when there's 35 avatars standing around as opposed to 6 or 7. It makes it look like we're a lot more attentive and supportive of the people that are taking time out of their days to share what they're doing in Decentraland.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you don't tweet it, it didn't exist. So everybody needs to tweet.
Man. Yeah. And yeah, that's something I've been like. Twitter for me is new to me, in as far as like using it as a tool that way. I never really used Twitter for social, like, even with the music stuff. Like, music is not necessarily dependent on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, music is more like Instagram and those other platforms and stuff like that. So Twitter was new to me, and you know, Maddie and Anorak taught me a lot about that, about how to Twitter. You know,
I'm doing pretty good on Twitter right now.
Yeah, I'm turning into like a home shopping network or something. Like host. I'm like recording ins and outs and like putting in like cool music and like getting the right angles and stuff. You know, it's a new venture for sure.
Yeah.
I was like you, man. I was always against social media. I like never used Facebook for years. But
I mean, I was always trying to be anonymous, honestly, for what my background is. Anonymous is best, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm coming out the shadows, if you will, and you know, and I'm learning how to do it, and I'm, you know, little by little, you know, it's just little by little. But it does matter to these people, you know. It's like when somebody gets, you know, like we're doing the conference. Then we go through and we blast, you know, these Twitter things, and they're very happy with that, you know, and they receive that well, and then they, you know, they're likely to reciprocate that love too, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy how quick Twitter has become that source for marketing and interacting with different companies, because not too long ago it was Facebook and Facebook ads, and then it was Instagram, and now Instagram is just so flooded with, you know, basically like nutrition people. And if you're not someone with that like body or pushing like that type of stuff, because it's just such a photogenic app, obviously that's all there is. Like, Twitter has become that thing that you can actually share some sort of information along with the video. I remember not too long ago when I was doing my small business stuff, and I was trying to reach out with different people. And this was only 2 years ago, and it was Instagram, and Twitter really wasn't that platform, and now it is. I mean, especially with the crypto community. I mean, the crypto community is, its own strength and detriment when you look at stuff like the J.K. Rowling Twitter threads. But then you look at the things we're doing, and we're able to connect with all these different communities from metaverse projects and also decentralized platforms like the micro sponsors people and the Polytope and all of those companies. So it's cool to see that we have a way to communicate with each other outside of Discord.
Yeah, true. And so to reach out to people that are not going to be in the Discord too,
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I've had a lot of people. Go ahead. Will.
No, I was just gonna say we've been on this roundtable for a little over 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. I think we should come to a close.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I want to plug is that I don't know, all you guys listening, we have a land that's up for grabs. A land giveaway tournament on June 18th.
Oh, that's right.
Tournament.
Yeah.
It's going on. Yeah, it's going on now. All you have to do is play at any block hole location and try and win for the day. That's how you enter. If you win for that day, your name is in the pool for the drawing for the land giveaway.
Yeah.
And every week we're gonna feature a new game. So right now
the best way to win that is to try to get Red Nitrous to do something else that day.
Exactly.
Red Nitrous.
Red Nitrous has a pretty big lead on everybody. Yeah. I think he's won like the last 4 days. So
yeah.
I'm about to start a corporation and just fund all of Red Nitrous's ventures. I think that'd be making 30, 40 times our life.
For real, this kid's doing good.
Oh yeah. Anything else? Boss, HP, Clark, Son of Krypton, Anorak. Anything you guys want to say?
No, I think that pretty much wraps it up for me. Yeah, I'm personally excited for all the additional features that Decentraland's going to integrate with the friends, and I don't think we really talked about that too much today, but I think that's going to just be huge. And I don't know exactly what the date is for that, but I think for us, I think we're really excited for that.
Yeah, that's going to be very helpful. It's going to make it real social, where you can just find your friends, if they're on the map or not. So that's gonna be fun to a fun integration piece, so I'm excited about that as well, actually.
Cool. We had Esteban listening as well as James.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, guys. Esteban said that they're gonna look into integrating the Genesis Plaza matrix chat, so the in-world chat to the Discord. Yeah. So
hell yeah,
that'd be awesome.
It could be great. Yeah,
yeah.
Definitely.
All right, looking forward to more updates for sure.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for doing this every week that we do it, and all you guys for coming out and hanging out. That's amazing. It literally helps the whole situation. So
that's right.
I don't know. I appreciate you guys. We got a lot coming up. Me and Clark Kent and Open have been working on the news, and we're hoping to get something out for you guys sometime soon. So
yeah, looking forward to that, Franky, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. All right, guys.
All right, citizens.
Thanks for having us.
Next week.
Yes.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. I'll cut the stream here.